Welcome to NFL Nexus. You know, in the NFL, a team's identity is, well, it's everything. It's what you build, brick by brick, over a grueling 17-game season. And for the 2025 Chicago Bears, their identity was crystal clear. Be aggressive, be creative, be fearless. They rode that identity all the way to the divisional round of the playoffs, only to abandon it at the one moment it mattered most. Today we are breaking down the paradox of the Bears' gut-wrenching season finale, a story of how a whole year of daring football came crashing down because of a single moment of doubt. We're going to dig into the decision, the fallout, and the really uncertain future it's created. As we get into it, let me know your first thoughts in the comments, and hey, if you love these deep dives, make sure you're subscribed to the channel.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break this all down. First up, we'll set the stage and talk about that incredible, aggressive identity the Bears built all season long. Then, we're going to put that one single game-defining decision under the microscope. We'll get into the huge debate that decision started, looking at both sides of it. After that, we'll walk through the painful what-if that played out in overtime. Then, we'll zoom out a bit, look at the price of success and the new problems the Bears are facing, before we wrap it all up with what this means for their future.
All right, so to really get the impact of that final play, you first have to understand the journey. You got to understand the DNA of this team. Let's really establish who the 2025 Chicago Bears were under head coach Ben Johnson. Because, and this is important, this was not your father's conservative 3 yards and a cloud of dust Bears team. No way. This was something totally new. And honestly, that's what makes the ending so unbelievably shocking.
Man, the 2025 Bears were just electric. They were must-see TV, you know? Under head coach Ben Johnson, they built this identity on one simple idea: calculated aggression. And this wasn't just talk, we saw it every single game. I mean, they were running flea flickers on their own 40-yard line. They looked at 4th and short not as a time to punt, but as just another chance to go out there and impose their will. They led the entire league in 2-point conversion attempts because they saw it as a statistical edge, not some desperate last-ditch move. This whole philosophy wasn't about being reckless. It was a strategy, and it's what got them an NFC North title and a huge wildcard win. They played a brand of fearless football that just lit up Soldier Field and told the rest of the league, we are not afraid to lose if it means we can win.
And that's what makes this whole thing so brutal. It's the paradox at the heart of their season. For 18 weeks, this team lived and died by being bold. Their identity was all about taking risks. Their success was built on playing right on that razor's edge. And yet, their incredible season just slams to a halt because of one single, shockingly conservative decision. It's the ultimate irony, isn't it? In the biggest moment of the year, the very thing that got them there was suddenly gone. It just left everyone, from the players to the fans, completely stunned and asking the same question: why?
Okay, let's zoom in on the moment itself. Picture this: divisional round, NFC playoffs. It's a brutal, freezing, snowy day at Soldier Field in Chicago. You know, the kind of day that football legends are made of. The Bears are locked in this absolute dogfight with the Los Angeles Rams. It's an old-school defensive slugfest where every single yard feels earned. The whole season is hanging in the balance on every play. The tension is thick. The crowd is just a roaring ocean of orange and blue. This is playoff football at its absolute best.
And just look at this number: six 4th down attempts. Up until those final 18 seconds, Ben Johnson was coaching exactly how he had all year long. He was on the attack nonstop. This number, 6, is just, it's almost unheard of in a playoff game this big. Most coaches, they're taking the points every time. But Johnson's whole philosophy is rooted in analytics, and it says the reward of getting a first down or a touchdown is way bigger than the risk of turning it over. He kept passing on easy field goals, putting the entire season in the hands of his offense. And it was working. One of those gambles led directly to an early touchdown. This wasn't a coach panicking. This was his plan, and he was sticking to it on the biggest stage.
And then, it happens. The play that's going to be burned into Chicago sports lore forever. The Bears are down 17-10. The Rams send the house on a blitz. Quarterback Caleb Williams is scrambling, just running for his life. He throws it off his back foot, just a desperate 40-yard heave toward the end zone. The ball just hangs there in the snow for what feels like an hour. And then, tight end Cole Kmet somehow comes down with it. Touchdown. The stadium just erupts. It's an absolute miracle. The score is now 17-16 with just 18 seconds to go. And in that moment of pure joy and chaos, the ultimate decision appears. Do you ride this massive wave of momentum and go for 2 to win the whole thing right here, right now? Or do you play it safe, kick the extra point, and take your chances in overtime?
So this right here, this is the whole story. The choice Ben Johnson had to make wasn't just about football plays. It was about his entire coaching philosophy. It was a direct clash between the aggressive identity he'd spent 18 games building and, 100 years of football tradition that just screams, play for overtime. This is where it all comes to head. Do you stick with what got you here? Do you dance with the one that brought you? Or do you switch things up and go with the safer, more traditional play?
And this really lays out the two sides of the coin, right? The war that had to be going on in Ben Johnson's head. On one side, you've got that emotional, gut-feeling argument to just go for the win. The momentum is like a tidal wave behind you. The Rams' defense is emotionally broken and physically exhausted after that touchdown. And more than anything, going for it proves everything you've preached all season. It's the ultimate show of who the 2025 Bears are. But then on the other side, you've got the cold, hard facts of the game itself. The Bears had already been stuffed at the goal line a few times. Their short yardage plays just weren't clicking. So kicking the extra point wasn't just being conservative, it was showing faith in a defense that had been playing great all day. It was a bet that they could get one more stop and win it in OT. It's the ultimate coaching dilemma, your heart versus your...
You know who was firmly on the go-for-it side? Rex Ryan. Of course, Rex Ryan. If you know anything about Rex, you know he lives for aggression. He was practically coming through the screen on ESPN. For him, this wasn't even a debate. He was arguing from a player's mindset, saying that after a soul-crushing play like that touchdown, the Rams' defense was just done. He said that defense was completely on their heels, they're gassed, they want no part of another play. Ryan's whole point was that football is about emotion, it's about momentum, and in that split second, the Bears had all of it. This was their chance to land the knockout punch. It was their chance to double down on who they were, and like he said, go win the damn thing. But then you have the man himself, Ben Johnson, standing on that sideline with the weight of an entire city on his shoulders. And he saw things differently. In the press conference after the game, you could just see the conflict on his face. He explained that his decision was based purely on what he'd seen for the last 3 hours. He pointed out that their execution down there, in those goal-to-go situations, it just hadn't been good all day. The plays they designed for that exact spot on the field weren't working. It's a classic case of what just happened influencing your next move. Instead of trusting the identity he'd built all season, he let the struggles of that one game change his strategy. He made a bet, shifting his trust from an offense that was struggling in that spot to a defense that had been rock solid. It was a choice based on the game, not the season. So that was it. The choice was made. He plays it safe, the kicking team comes out, the snap is good, the kick is perfect, right down the middle, we're tied at 17, and Soldier Field is getting ready for overtime. But this right here is where a logical coaching decision starts to slowly, painfully morph into a franchise-defining what if. Let's walk through exactly what happened next, the sequence that's going to haunt Chicago for this entire offseason. And this timeline, wow, it just lays out the whole painful sequence step by step. At first, it looked like Johnson's bet was going to pay off big time. His defense, the guys he trusted, they went out there and did their job, forcing a quick punt. The stadium was roaring again. The ball was back in Caleb Williams' hands with a chance to be the hero. The offense is driving. They've even converted gutsy 4th down to keep the drive going. It felt like it was meant to be. But then, disaster. Williams, trying to make something happen, throws a terrible interception. A fatal mistake that just sucked all the air out of the stadium. That was the dagger. The Rams get the ball back, and their veteran QB, Matthew Stafford, just calmly picks apart the defense, gets them into easy field goal range. The kicker, Harrison Mevis, comes on, cool as can be, and drills the 42-yarder. Season over, just like that. It instantly became one of the all-time Chicago sports heartbreaks.
So, the season's over. Just like that. Players are cleaning out their lockers and that long, cold off-season winter begins. But the story? Oh, the story is far from over. Because the ripples from the Bears' incredible 2025 season are just starting to spread. See, in the NFL, a great year of growth and winning always comes with a hidden cost. It brings a whole new set of problems, unintended consequences that every successful team has to figure out. The Bears aren't the hunters anymore. Now, they're the hunted.
Right away, the first thing that happens when you're successful is you get a target on your back. Because the Bears' offense was so creative and their turnaround was so fast, other teams want a piece of that magic. And, well, poaching season is officially open. The first big domino to fall, reported by Adam Schefter at ESPN, is the Kansas City Chiefs asking for permission to interview a key part of the Bears coaching staff, Eric Bieniemy, for their offensive coordinator job. This isn't just losing some position coach, this is a direct hit to the foundation of their offensive success.
And it's no wonder why everyone wants Bieniemy. I mean, his fingerprints were all over this offense's success. He was the guy behind DeAndre Swift's career-best season, finally unlocking all that potential. He was the one who scouted and developed a 7th-round rookie, Kyle Monaghay, and turned him into maybe the biggest steal of the entire draft.
You put those pieces together and you get one of the most dominant running games in the league, which was really the engine for this whole offense. On top of all that, he was the OC for the Chiefs before this. So yeah, he's one of the most valuable coaches you could possibly have.
This is what we're talking about. It's the price of success. It's one of the great paradoxes of winning in the NFL. When you have a great season, your entire organization goes under a microscope. All of a sudden, your smart coordinators, your innovative position coaches, they all become the hottest names on the market for other teams who want to copy what you've built. It means your offseason isn't just about finding new players anymore. You're also in a desperate fight to keep the guys who built your success from walking out the door.
So, after a season of amazing highs and one crushing, unforgettable low, where does all this leave the Chicago Bears? As they go into a long, uncertain offseason, they're in a really strange spot. They're haunted from the inside by the ghost of that one decision, that what if, that's going to be talked about all winter. And at the same time, they're being hunted from the outside by the rest of the league, targeted because of the very success that put them in that position. It's a really tough spot to be in.
Okay, but first, the good news. The big silver lining here for all the Bears fans out there. The architect of this whole thing, head coach Ben Johnson, he's not going anywhere. In today's NFL, the really great teams have a head coach who is the system, like a Sean McVay or a Kyle Shanahan. Johnson has put himself in that group. He's the foundation. And as long as he's the one in charge, that core philosophy of aggressive, creative football is going to stay. And that gives you a huge amount of stability and a clear path forward, even if some of the people around him change.
But the challenge they're facing, man, it's a tough one. It's like they're fighting a war on two fronts. On one side, you have the front office working overtime to try and keep key coaches and figure out how to replace guys like Eric Bieniemy if he gets hired away. That's a huge chess match. But the other front is all mental. The entire organization, from the players to the coaches, has to deal with the ghost of that final play. How do you square a whole season of being aggressive with an ending that came from being cautious? That memory is now hanging like a dark cloud over what was supposed to be a brilliant season.
And that's really what it all boils down to, isn't it? This one big question that's going to define the future for the Bears. How do they handle this ending? Do they look at what happened in overtime and say, see, that's proof we should have gone for it and never let it get to that point? Do they double down on being aggressive and promise themselves they'll never back down again? Or does the opposite happen? Does that one little seed of doubt, that one moment of caution, start to grow and make them question the very philosophy that made them great? The answer to that is going to define their entire franchise. Putting these deep dives together, it takes a ton of work. If you enjoy this kind of detailed analysis and want to support what we do here at NFL Nexus, we've got a really fun way you can do that. We made a series of unique NFL-themed coloring books. They're perfect for the young fans in your life, your kids, grandkids, but honestly, they're a great way for adults to just relax and unwind too. If you want to check them out, you can scan the QR code right here on the screen or just hit the link in the description below. Any and all support is hugely appreciated, and it helps us keep making breakdowns just like this one.
All right, now I've got to turn the ultimate question over to you. What would you have done? Was Ben Johnson's decision the smart, pragmatic choice based on what was happening in the game? Or was it a historic mistake that went against everything his team stood for? Get down in the comments and let me know your take. I want to hear it all. And if you like this breakdown, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe to NFL Nexus so you never miss what we've got coming next. Thanks for watching.